In the last half an hour, Israel has confirmed it has agreed to a ceasefire with Iran. President Trump, who announced the ceasefire agreement, has told both countries, please do not violate it. Well, let's show you the scenes live this morning as we keep you across all the very latest developments. For example, we could take you to Beersheba in Israel. This is not far away from Jerusalem, where we saw some strikes on the part of Iran that managed to penetrate through, hitting targets in Israel. 4 people are reported to have been killed, but seemingly a very ferocious night in the other direction as well. Some 9 people killed, 33 injured in northern Iran, according to local officials there. So what's been described as a very ferocious night on both sides in the final hours up to the agreement of this ceasefire. Let's now bring in Dan Johnson, our correspondent who is in Jerusalem. So Dan, Israel have agreed to the ceasefire. Tell us more.
Yes, the Israeli government announced about half an hour ago that it had agreed to the ceasefire proposals, the plan. It doesn't necessarily mean that the ceasefire is in place right now and being respected by both sides. We understand the terms of this agreement are that Iran would stop firing at 7 a.m. local time this morning, and that does appear to have happened. That's almost 3 hours ago now, and there hasn't been any significant reported fire from Iran since then. But it gives Israel another 3 hours from now until it comes under the same terms of that agreement. And having seen those Iranian attacks in the 2 or 3 hours before 7 a.m. this morning, 4 people have been killed in Beersheba. There are 22 people injured across the south of Israel. There was the potential for the Israeli military to respond, to retaliate in some way. Now, perhaps this statement is a sign that they don't feel that they need to do that, but there is still a potential window open to them. So we could still see a tense few hours ahead to see if this ceasefire is actually respected by both sides. Israel has warned that any violation of this ceasefire would be met with a forceful reaction. It has warned its citizens to continue adhering to the safety restrictions and orders that are in place until it can confirm that this ceasefire is being properly adhered to by both sides. But certainly the hope is that this does now mean some sort of peace in this region after 12 days of conflict with intense airstrikes on both sides, widespread damage and destruction, and so much loss of life that we've seen over the last 12 days.
And Dan, just remind us of what happened to get us to this point, because it was on Sunday, of course, or late Saturday, we had the news of US direct attacks on nuclear facilities in Iran. We were all waiting for Iran's response. That followed, and now we're at this point where both countries appear to be adhering to a ceasefire.
Yes, an awful lot has happened since the US got involved in this conflict with those strikes on Iran's nuclear sites over the weekend, back and forth by both sides. It was an intense night of strikes last night. The hope is now that both sides have given what they've got, done what they need, they can claim to have achieved their aims, and that the ceasefire will now be respected.
Dan Johnson, thank you so much. That's all from us on BBC News.